Good afternoon and welcome to Live 605, or should I say Live 305. We are broadcasting, streaming live to you slightly earlier, and I'll explain why in a moment. Before I do that, welcome to all the viewers on YouTube, on Facebook, through our Facebook page, and of course through my own personal profile, because I am a glutton for punishment. I'm your host, Con Kazantzidis, aka Shave the Man, the name that has followed me around. In fact, it follows me around every day because I have it on my van. It's a shave. I've decided that I should brand myself well and truly and use it as a number plate. Well, let us know if you're new to here, and I suspect there may be some new people watching this afternoon because we're a little bit earlier and there is a rather, I have to say, unfortunate scenario that has occurred in most states in Australia, and that is that we have gone into, by government decree, into a lockdown because COVID is unfortunately seems to want to stick around. It loves Australia so much. The rest of the world is now going to the Foo Fighter concerts and doing things. They're attending parties, and we are attending lockdown. So that means that I come to the store, we fulfill the orders as per usual. This is what it looks like during the daytime, mind you. So it's kind of, it's very different, I know. In fact, if we're doing lives during the summertime, it'll probably look very similar to this. Welcome, no matter where you are. Big hello to Leon. Hello, Leon. G'day. How are you? Nice of you to join us on YouTube. Remember, you can catch these videos live after the fact on YouTube because Facebook tends to munch them up, puts them through a meat grinder, and then you never see them again. I don't know where they are. It's very hard to find things on Facebook unless you favourite them, but then again, who would do that? Paul, good afternoon, kind sir. I hope you're doing well, and I hope the family is well during this rather lockdown, which I think is kind of necessary. Hi, Dave. Nice to see you on the live. Yes, and you're probably seeing me now because you're at home, like all of us. Well, the doors are locked. No one can come here and see us. Well, we can definitely send things out. So it's business as usual online, but not so much in store, where we've completely eliminated that from our repertoire for now. Steve, no lockdown out there. Good. I'm pleased to hear that. Out in the out west, the western part of New South Wales. I hope you're well. I know you had some mice and things. Now we've got lockdowns. I mean, what next? I'm scared to ask. And so when I usually get scared to ask things, I normally have an espresso, and this is what I'm doing right now. So excuse me, will you? Today's show will be slightly different. Usually I come on here and talk about things and you know, whatever the case may be, but this afternoon I've decided, in my stupidity, to make it a free-for-all. You can ask me whatever you like, within reason, of course. I won't disclose my zodiac, my blood group, or what I have in the bank, or what I don't have in the bank, I should say. Yeah. Anyway. So if you're new, type new in the comments below. That helps us to identify you. Hello, Lenny. Hope you're well. Yes, I'm sure you're probably in lockdown too. Lenny does a wonderful job. She's my favourite optician. Works with people putting wonderful spectacles on their faces and does a mighty fine job. Hope you're well, Lenny. I don't know why we're in this situation again. Let's not go there. Anyway, so again, as I said, it's kind of a sort of we're freestyling. I mean, if I was into poetry as much as I'd like to be, I'd be a beat poet. This would be the time where I would improvise and I would say things, and you know, and there'd be rapturous applause when I finished, and that would be it. Good morning, sir. Where have we got? Please don't complain about lockdown to us in Victoria. Yeah, I know. Look, there's a rivalry, and it's silly. It's really silly. I mean, I don't care where people are from. This really affects everyone's life. It affects. I mean, the obvious effects are financial. The less obvious ones, and the ones that I find are more serious, are the psychological effects. People just think, oh my God, not again, again and again. And I feel for our Victorian friends, because they've had it really, really bad. So Lenny is an essential worker. Well, I knew that, Lenny. You're very essential. You're essential to lots of things happening in the good suburb of Marrickville and beyond. Good morning, Chris. Nice to see you on the live from YouTube. I'm really delighted that people are sort of decided to look at us on YouTube. As I say, these videos all end up there anyway. Becomes a repository for all this for all these videos and lives that we do. Matt, hi, nice to see you on the live. It's one of those things. Yeah, we're just going to have to sort of freestyle it. And the reason I don't want to be here till 6:05 waiting to do this, because there's no need to be. After I finish this, I'm just going to go home. I mean, that's it. So that's why we're on early. Tell us about your regular shaving routine. I know I'm asking again. Yes. Okay. Look, first and foremost, well, maybe I should tell you a little bit about why I got into this, and then I'll talk about why I got into shaving. If you haven't heard the story before, buckle up. I mean, what else are you going to do? If you're in Australia, you can just suffer, right? And you have to hear the story again. But basically, I came to this because I kept ruining my collars, right? My shirt here. In a former life, I almost always had to wear a tie, and with the tie and my beautiful neck, quite substantial neck, I would, turning around and doing what I did through the course of the day, I would always ruin my shirts, completely destroy the collars. And that was because I didn't like shaving too closely on my neck, because I would get irritation. And that irritation would also mean that I would irritate my poor shirts. Perfectly good shirts would end up being dust cloths in about 3 months. Like, it was really bad. And I would try and remove all the fluff and try and remove on the top of the collar to try and get them right. But it just would destroy the shirts. And that was because I wasn't shaving my neck. And I wasn't shaving my neck because it was uncomfortable and I was using a cartridge razor. Long story short, I made the transition to safety razors many years ago, under the tutelage of my late father, who I could hear shaving from the next room. And so I decided that, enough was enough, that I should bite the bullet. And if I was going to, hemorrhage to death, well, that's fine. At least I'll do it with style. I'd do it with a Gillette in my hand or something. So I went on this journey, and I'm still on this journey, and I'm happy that a lot of you are still on this journey. So basically what I do, the first thing I do is I have to make sure that my face is clean and hydrated. Please, please, I can't stress this enough. Try it if you like. I mean, if you think that I'm just sort of, like the sound of my own voice, try it yourselves. Try not washing your face and just going straight to a lather and see how that works for you. I mean, it may work for you, I don't know. And then try it after you've washed and hydrated your whiskers. And this, of course, applies to women as well. Hydrate your legs, wash your legs. Don't just go straight onto, shaving your skin without preparing it. Preparation is key. How do we prepare? As I said in previous videos, I wash. So that's what I do. So basically what I do is I have a shower. While I'm having a shower, if I'm using an artisan-based soap, I'll put a little bit of water over the top of it. This, annoyingly, or otherwise is called blooming. I'm not particularly interested in... I don't think that it makes the soap work any better or any worse. You're going to wet the soap anyway, so it's not really a game changer for me. But what I like doing is that I immediately start with wet soap. So then I bring the brush to it, or before I do that, I take that water and I use it as a pre-shave. So I use the water that's been sitting in a tub as a pre-shave, and then I just lather for 40 seconds to a minute. Make sure I load the product really well. I don't try and skimp on product, because you just get through it, okay? Use product. Don't be frightened to use product. It's very important. And then what I then do is I load this brush for 40 to about a minute, depending on whether it's a hard soap, depending on whether it's Mitchell's Wool Fat, Tobacco, or any of these other soaps. And then I build the lather, and I spend a lot more time building the lather than I do shaving, if that makes sense. So this process of building the lather, usually, more often than not, on my face, I'm not a bowl latherer much these days. I still do it because I need to have an opinion on it, and I also need to know how different soaps perform, whether you're doing it directly out of, directly on the face, or whether you're using a bowl. So I really build the lather, and even when I think, oh, look, that's okay, I say, no, it's not okay. I push it. I go again, dip the brush in a little bit of water and work it. Right? Keep working. What this does, of course, is that it lifts the hairs. It does that, but it also stimulates the skin, right? And that then lifts the whiskers on the skin in preparation for the blade. I then take, more often than not, my safety razor, which is, I usually use a 316, an Edwin Jagger 316, not because it's better or worse or anything, because it works for me and I love it. And depending on the age of the razor blade, if I put a brand new blade in there, I go really, 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 really slow to begin with. And that just sort of knocks off any burrs or any irregularities that you might find in the edge. And then, sort of work on going with the grain, across, and then against the grain. And the rest, I guess, is kind of, fairly self-explanatory. I rinse the face, reapply the lather. Again, now the second time I put the lather on, I find that it's actually deliberately, I actually want it to be a little bit thinner on the skin. And I just give good coverage, make sure that the brush is giving up the soap. I know there are many brushes that are lather hogs, but I ensure that it's giving up the lather. And so I don't want this sort of Santa Claus, this white beard thing happening. I know it's great for demonstrations and it looks kind of cute if you're putting it on a retro vintage poster or whatever, but it's not practical, okay? So this time I'm going across the grain, and that's where I finish off. Now, this whole 2 versus 3 pass shave, this argument can go on and on and on. I generally don't do a 3-pass shave these days. I do a 2 and I pick up a few bits and pieces, or just do a little bit of buffing or whatever you want to call it. And that's it. Why? Because for me, I need to be able to shave again very soon. If I do a 3-pass shave and it's baby butt smooth, then I'm not going to be shaving again for 2 days. And I can't really do it because then I'm going to start wrecking my shirts again. There you go. See, we've come full circle. So if I don't want to wreck my shirts, I make sure that the neck and everything in that area around the Adam's apple, as you know, Dave, because we've had this discussion before, is one that you really need to go very slow on, and just use short. None of this business of it's not an aircraft carrier, where you're launching off razors off your face. It's just right. That's it. It's finished. Did you like how I used that was improvising? Come on, that's a 10 out of 10 for effort, surely. Improvise using my finger as a razor. Any other questions? Hi, Con. Hope you're well. Yes. Hi, Tracy. Wow. It's nice to see you on here, Tracy. That's very nice. I might have a coffee now. We're having a coffee together, virtually. Yes, Tony. It's an early one today. As I said, I'll be doing this and then going. I would have loved to have stuck around here till 6 o'clock, but it ain't happening because it's getting cold as well and we're in lockdown. And that's that. I'd rather go home and sit in front of the fire, to be perfectly honest. But, of course, I'm committed to this. This is why I wanted to just do it a little bit earlier. I am frustrated that I cannot get regular supplies of my preferred shaving product. Can you tell me the issues regarding restocking products from overseas and from your perspective? Leon, I love you. Thank you. This is a question that I had anticipated. And in fact, I was going to load up a graph, and then I thought, hang on, that's disingenuous, because what it says is, I know you're going to ask me this question, and therefore I know that I'm going to answer it, and therefore I'm going to do it. There are a number of things that need to that I thank you firstly for the question, because I think it gives me an opportunity. People think I zig and zag and avoid the question, but it's one. So there's a couple of things. So COVID has changed overseas shipping in a number of ways. Let's firstly look at by sea, and that's not something that affects a lot of what we carry, but it affects some of the things that we carry. Now, by sea, generally speaking, there's a sea freight index, right? This is a thing that's traded. It's an index. It's like a commodity that goes up and down. And that, for all sorts of reasons, has gone up to 5 times. So where they said ship by sea because it's less expensive and it's more economical, it makes good business sense to ship things across by sea, that now more economical thing costs 5 times more. Why? Because, to put it in the briefest possible way, so apart from the disruptions that quarantine and, the swapping out of crews and all that sort of stuff on ships, you're not going to believe this, but there's things like container shortages. So there are containers sitting on wharfs in places where they're not needed, and there are people and stevedores and people that work in docks that need containers and they can't get them. So containers are one thing, and that slows things down. Slowing things down costs money. That then feeds into this whole elevation of price and so on and so forth. So if you're shipping things, for example, the things that we ship out of the United States, usually more often than not come from Long Beach, so from Los Angeles. So that's where most of the things come from. And if you were to go to Long Beach now, there'd be all these vessels out at sea, 1 or 2 nautical miles away, just waiting there to be given clearance to come in and so on and so forth. So there's a backlog. That's the first thing. Right. A lot of things, however, come to us by air. And what's happening with air is this. Most commercial airlines do not make their money carrying people. So whether you're travelling economy or coach, for our overseas friends, whether you're watching you're flying to wherever it is in the world, you're only providing the creme de la creme, the cream for these airlines. Most of these airlines make their money on cargo. So this is why you can jump on an aircraft and think, oh, it's not very full. But of course, the cargo itself is all underneath the plane and the fuselage. And this is the thing that enables them to earn money. So, in fact, I should correct that only slightly. It's J class, business class, and first class that pays for the flight as well as cargo. Everyone on this side of the curtain then is just profit. It's money for jam for a lot of these airlines. Now, these are commercial airlines, right? What's happened to the commercial flights? Well, through all sorts of reasons, which are fairly obvious, they're not as frequent anymore. Now, when you decrease the frequency of flights, people are trying to get their cargo onto these, and organising a cargo manifest for a lot of these carriers becomes an absolute nightmare. It's a nightmare anyway, but it becomes an absolute nightmare. So that means players like UPS and FedEx and DHL, who are carriers that have their own aircraft, now, I won't say they have a monopoly, but because there was a time where they themselves, companies like DHL, were chartering flights from, say, Cathay Pacific. I know this as an example, and buying cargo space on Cathay Pacific commercial flights that didn't have many passengers on them, just to get their shipments across the other side of the world, because people are buying a lot of products online. And so this is one of the problems. So what that's done is, in this rather unfortunate scenario, is that it's meant that air freight has now increased up to 3 times, right? So if I was to bring in a soap which we would sell, let's say, on the market for $30 or something, for us to remain here and keep the doors open, I would probably have to sell that soap for $44. Are you willing to pay that? No. Not that it's not worth it. The artisans and these people that are supplying these products haven't put their prices up. You have to find ways of getting it here in a commercially viable way. So that's why you might find that things are out of stock, they're not in, with this and that. It's not the cost of the item. You would know this if you've tried to order things from overseas. Freight is very, very expensive. And to give you an example, freight was, and I can see the graph, this happened in 2020. It started to sort of escalate quite exponentially. It went from, I believe, about $3.40 US per kilo, right? $3.40 US per kilo, multiplied by the cubic capacity that it takes, and that was your freight price. It is now over $10.40 US. You do the math. It's now over $10.40 US, multiplied by the amount of cubic meters that it's in. So when I have people saying, "Con, when you're bringing this, when you're bringing that," I have to do one of two things. I have to say to them, "Look, please buy direct from the artisan if you're in a hurry. If you're not in a hurry," and let's face it, there's enough people out there that have enough product to supply their entire country with. I mean, there's the people that are stockpiling this stuff, right? I have enough soap for the rest of my life. There's a confession, right? And I'm not one of these guys that'll buy the next soap, every soap. Oh, I'm onto the next soap. I'm not one of these people. I just buy things and I think, oh, that's interesting. I might try it. So this fear of not having the latest soap or whatever, if you're in the loop, if you're that sort of person that wants the soap, my advice to you is to go direct to the artisan. You're helping us and you're helping the artisan. Why are you helping us? I'll tell you why. Just because you want to try Cavendish by PAA, that puts us out 13, 14, 15 grand, 16 grand. Because I'm not just going to buy one PAA Cavendish. I've got to buy all these other things. And then that comes in and people say, "Oh, look, you got to get this soap. It's unreal. I've got 15 other blokes that are lined up. They're all here. We're all going to jump on it," right? And I think, okay, so you've become the spokesman for 15 other blokes, right? It's already too late. If you're asking for this soap, it's already too late. You're in this position. You're in this position where you needed to have it yesterday. How else are you going to keep up with YouTube reviews and all the rest of it, okay? How else are you going to talk about the complexity of this particular soap or that soap and all the rest of it? Again, I'm talking to people that are hobbyists, not people that need it for utilitarian purposes alone, right? And we've had that discussion before many, many, many times. So the shortest answer is things are out of stock because if they were in stock, you'd probably think, A, they were very expensive, simply because it's just not viable. It's not viable to bring this stuff in and wait for that to return. As a business, you need to move products. That's the key. Keep them moving. Now, in our very, very small world of traditional wet shaving, me buying a soap and Fred down the road buying a soap, whatever, is not product moving. That's just 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 15, even 30, even 50 enthusiasts buying that. Is that enough to keep a business going and sustainable? That's the question. That's the challenge that we have. Matt Watson. I love PAA products, as do I, Matt. I think they're really good products, but they've been missing in action for a while. They have. Douglas and Fran do a wonderful job. And if you really, really want their products, if there's something that you desperately want, then I would suggest you go directly to them. Otherwise, I ask for your patience. I know you've been patient, you've been understanding. A lot of people have asked this. And so it's a problem. Sadly, you can't buy colognes or aftershaves in the US due to the restrictions on airline shipping items containing alcohol. This is another bane of our existence. This is the dangerous goods scenario, which keeps changing every 3 months. No point even them doing a PDF of it because it keeps changing. Oh, sorry, these are dangerous goods. These are category 1, category 2. Here's another thing that we may not know about. It's not just putting the dangerous goods on the aircraft because obviously alcoholic beverages arrive here by air freight. So it's not that. It's not that the aircraft can't carry alcohol or dangerous goods. It's that in carrying them, believe it or not, this happens, there's, as I said, this cargo manifest, the captain looks at it and says, what do we got? We've got lithium batteries, yeah, and you want to bring in vodka? Get on the next flight, right? Sorry, this can't happen. Now, these people need to do extensive training, even the way they pack boxes, the way they put those diamond-shaped stars with a flame. You may have seen them, they're like little red diamonds, say, with flames coming out. We're dangerous good. I have been to logistics centres here in Sydney. I've driven down to Sydney and spoken to people that are in warehouses and they say, this box was packed incorrectly. Why? They should have put that sticker on this side and on that flap. Are you kidding me? We're not splitting hairs. It's a heavily, heavily regulated thing. It's one of those things that it's just, it's the bane of our existence. Well, thank you, Leo. Look, I don't know if it's a great explanation. I don't know if it's an explanation, and I hope that it throws light on this whole thing. But it's something that Mark, I'll come to you in a minute. But it's something that hopefully allows you to sort of just see what, how things are from our perspective as well. Mark, yes, you're running a business con. We thought you were just doing this to feed our addictions. Look, I confess, Mark, I'm feeding your addictions, but I'm also kind of running a business. Now, having said all of that, what can you do if you really like a business and you think, they're always out of stock, One thing you can do, there are ways you can help businesses without buying stuff from them, okay? This is why I'm not on here like Joe the Gadget Man trying to flog product all the time. It's because it doesn't work like that. This is about a relationship. It's about helping people. And that other stuff, the business side of stuff, that will look after itself, okay? People are not silly. They understand. They can see. They have the discernment to see that, whether someone's just saying, oh, look, this is our latest thing and this is what we're doing and this is our, all this sort of stuff. If you want to help a business, share their page with others. Talk to your friends about businesses. Share a post. Put up something on your social media and say, I got this from there. That is akin to buying. Now, of course, man cannot live on shares alone. However, people cannot live on shares alone. I shouldn't say man. I'll probably get banned. Anyway, people cannot live on shares alone, but it helps. Tell people, I went to this place. I really like what they're doing. I get a good vibe from these people. Support them. Have a look. Because that's the most important thing you can do. Particularly in our country at the moment where most of our states seem to be in lockdown, the best way you can help those businesses, you can't go in there, obviously, okay, if they're a bricks and mortar store anyway, but just talk to other people about those things. Like just talk to them. Say, listen, check this place out. Check out, Acme floor sanding or whatever, or, XYZ painters or painters and decorators, whatever. Just talking to other people about it helps businesses enormously. That's that. Look, I hope I've sort of gone on a little bit, but I hope that sort of throws light on all of that. The other thing that happens in this community is that people bulk buy. They'll do a group buy and then send it to one central address, and that will then, from that point go out and they'll distribute from here. That's become kind of pricey too. So I don't know what the solution is. Do I think the prices will come down? They will have to, because it's unsustainable. A lot of businesses are struggling. Particularly businesses that are in logistics. We've had a number of suppliers that have sent direct emails, and said, look, this year's going to be tough. Whatever, we're steep markdowns and all this. And I know that a steep markdown, that steep, is hurting that business, right? But they need to get the ball rolling. So we're in a very precarious position here. Nick, hello from Malaysia. Well, that's wonderful. Nice to have friends from Malaysia. I'm new. Welcome. That's so nice. Yes, Malaysia doesn't have much artisan soap, only Tobs and Razor Rock. Yes, I know. This is how Australia was probably 2013, 14. They were the companies that managed to get traction. But you'll find that those... So here's another thing. So once you're used to paying a certain price point, and of course we can talk about, and there's a whole philosophical discussion about, between the differences between price and value. Once a customer or a person is used to paying a certain price, and that price has to go up, then they'll say, this business's price... they're ripping us off, okay? So then you vote with your feet and you don't go there. Or you say, wow, really? I'm paying this much for Blazer Rock? Notice I didn't use the word Razor Rock, whatever. It could be any company. I'm just not singling one out. Because operating costs have gone up. People can't get staff. People that work in factories that manufacture razors do not have their full complement of staff. It's a luxury to have the guy that polishes the handle and then passes it on to Joe, who then, gives it the second, looks at once over again and then sends it back through a second round of polish. This stuff costs money. And because it's not happening at scale, because of the current situation of the world, it's jacked prices up. So what does one do? Well, one can say, look, I really, 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 really do want Cavendish from PAA. I'll just buy it direct and pay $48 or whatever it is. I don't know how much it would be if you bought it. Or I'll buy two and I'll share it with my friends and we'll do it until something happens. This is why there's been this distribution model that's happening. So Europeans will say, we're the distributor of this particular product, so it all gets shipped to that distributor, and then from there it gets shipped out to the other stores in Europe. But you'll find that they're quite expensive. I mean, it's quite well worth it, but you've got to ask the question. You've got to ask the question at what point. I mean, it's the frog in the pot that's starting where the water's slowly starting to boil. I think eventually you'll just jump out and say, look, you know what? I'm going back to using, I don't know, King of Shaves or something. I don't know, whatever. I need to have some water. Look, there is another thing. If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, please do so. And I've deliberately tried to keep out of people's faces. I don't want to be heavy-handed. I don't want to be in people's faces. I don't want to send out email blasts all the time because I don't want to be... Now, people would say you're silly. What are you doing? You're running a business. You've got to tell people about what you've got and what you've this and what you've that. Yes, but I also know that people don't have the disposable income as much as they did. Or if they do, there are other priorities in people's lives. So we need to just understand. It's a bit of a give and take. Mark, it's a good reminder, Con. That was not a negative comment. I think sometimes our expectations of liars in this small market are completely unrealistic. We need to support those who support us. Look, yes, I agree with you, Mark. And yes, I didn't take any offence. It wasn't a negative comment at all. It's a comment I hear frequently. But yeah, it's the cost. See, if I said, look, I could get, and we'll use PAA because we're talking about, if I could get PAA Cavendish to you for $48, right? $48, would you be prepared to pay that? One thing I've noticed in business, and I've known this for quite some time, what people tell you and what they do are two different things. People will say one thing, and I'm not saying that they're evil or they're deliberately misleading you. A customer or a person will say, oh, I'm going to do this, and yes, I'm really, really keen about that. And then when they leave or when they think about it, they say, look, I am keen, but I'm sort of lukewarm on it now, and now I've sort of gone off it completely, and that's all left me. So there's a lot of impulse there. And so what happens is, if a business responds to every impulse from every customer, that business will soon go under. If every business responds to every impulse from every customer or everything that they say they're going to buy when you've got it, then they would go bung, right? They would go bung. They would be, bung means finished. That's it. I mean, it's a very, very, it's that kind of thing. It's very interesting. Paul, absolutely right about building relationships and connections. Is it bad that I don't like people? Depends what line of work you're in, Paul. Watch Black Books again. Anyway, Black Books, what a show. Wear their T-shirts. You'll be surprised how many people are intrigued by the name alone. Great conversation starter, I found. Thank you, Starthy. Yes, I know that you represent, and I also know that you represent with your coffee mug. Look, they're little things. Look, it doesn't... A lot of people have said, go for the influencer market, jump onto some person that's on Instagram and really flog them, send them stuff, whatever. Yeah, I'll send them stuff. And great, that's fine. I'll send you more than stuff. The thing is, getting the product out is just one of those things. I'd rather people have discussions and talk to each other. Now, I know there's not much talking happening these days because people are isolated and all the rest of it. But yes, doing things like wearing a T-shirt, like talking about them, this whole fanboy thing, you're a fanboy. Most solid multinational businesses started or have a very, very strong fanboy base, and it's all built on that. And not everyone's a fanboy, but I'm sure there are strata that where it changes, where the further away you get from the enthusiast, you'll have other people say, yes, I can see the utility in this product. It's a great product, and I'm happy to use it. You don't have to be a fanboy. Not everyone has to wear the T-shirt, but I'm glad that you do, Stuffy. And have you not been mugged yet? Has that not caused any problems for you wearing the straight whisker T-shirt? Anyway. Hello, Thorsten. Now, hearing from you again just made my day. Thank you very much, and very interesting thoughts so far. Unfortunately, I've got to leave. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. It's no need to apologise. I thank you for joining us. I think it's a very, very important thing. I think it's what have we got here? Another comment. Yep. Have you ever done a shave vid? If not, why? I have, and it's never left the cutting room floor. I do it. I look at myself and I think, oh, really? Why am I doing this? And there are a lot of shaving videos out there. A lot of people who do them. It's a fascination too. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I will do one. I don't know. I've even got them on my phone. But I just haven't had the. I don't want to do that to you. I don't know. I don't want to do that to you. I've also stopped doing review videos as well. I don't review videos I don't do review product videos anymore, and we can talk about that too if that's of interest. Why I stopped doing Shave the Man review videos and all the rest of it. And I mean, there are some very obvious reasons, and then there are less obvious ones. I mean, the obvious ones are that people would think then there's a conflict of interest. It would jeopardize the integrity of the review if people thought that I was selling these things. And of course, you're going to say great things about things you're selling and so on and so forth. The other thing is that as I have grown to know a lot of these people, grown relationships, built strong relationships with these people, I would rather pass on my feedback privately to a person and say, look, this particular product is lovely and I see where you're going with this, but it just didn't work for me. Now, I don't need to do that on a video to get some. Got to be careful what I say here, but I'm going to say it. When you go onto Amazon and you read these reviews of the latest thriller by some best-selling author, and someone jumps on there and says, oh, I didn't like this, I thought it was great. It does nothing for that particular author. The body of work, he or she has produced the work and brought it into the world and said, here it is, here is my novel, and now you don't like it. That author can't do anything about it. So essentially what it's doing is it's telling us more about you and how you don't like it, which is a fair enough thing. But it's not, driving the conversation or making the author a better author. They're not going to say, oh, I wish I'd written it this way or that way. Now, when you're making products, feedback is important, very important, but there are ways and channels and focus groups, if you like, even at a very, very small scale, which can pivot very quickly and let people know what they think. So when I see people come on to Facebook groups or Reddit groups or anything like that, and they say, oh, what did you think of this? Now, I know the pin is in their mouth. The grenade is ready, and I'm going to lob this grenade into this group, and I'm just going to let you have at it. There'll be shrapnel everywhere. There'll be people that defend it. Others will get maimed. Other people will have, other things. So we've all got an opinion on that sort of stuff. And so at the end of the day, it was just an opinion. And I know that people like to hang their opinions on things. It gives them a point of reference and so on and so forth. So I've decided not to do this. I give this a 5-star, that a 10-star. This is a 99.9% product. This is that. Because if any of you have studied measurement and statistics in any meaningful way or in any sort of in depth, you'll know that the whole thing's nonsense. It's nonsense. If I told you that this soap was a 10, what does that actually mean? What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. Firstly, it means, the presupposition is that I remember exactly every other soap that I've tried under exactly the same conditions, using the same razor, the same blade, the same everything, right? And that my skin and my age and my level of experience and my level of my expertise and the technique and everything were exactly identical, and therefore I can make some sort of quantitative judgment on that. So what I do is I say, I really enjoyed this soap, or I did not enjoy it as much. That's it. That's it. That's it. This is sort of, it's like a social Darwinism or something. I don't know what it is. We all want numbers and things, and we want to peg things on, this is a 990 soap. Come on. Bring me an 84 soap. Bring me the soap that's 84 and one that's 63, out of 100 and we'll talk. Bring me the soap that's 32. Tracy, you're still here. Great to see you have your own Australian-made products. What is the top-selling female razor? Okay. Top-selling female razor is the Edwin Jagger knurled. There's a pink knurled, and there's also, I'll tell you what else we're selling. I'm going to just pull out a shot just momentarily, and then I'll come back into shot. This is not a green screen. You'll see that very quickly. This sells really well. This is the Broman. I don't know if I can show you. There it is, the Broman. It's not Australian made. Very mild. It's a great little razor. It pivots. It has the same sort of mechanism that a cartridge razor does. If I can just show you that. And it's doing really, really well. And I'm in trouble now with that particular razor. If I can get myself in focus, I'm in a lot of trouble with that razor because stocks are now running low, and I've been in contact with Broman and said, why didn't we order 5 times the amount and all the rest of it? Of course, we ordered this. It was a long story, long and whatever story about it. So you can't buy these razors anywhere in the world. Just so happy. See what happens? You just hold off. Sometimes it pays to be second or third or fourth. And not be an early adopter. As it turns out, it was not our fault, and actually it wasn't the manufacturer's fault. There was all sorts of things going on there, but we're selling out of those razors very, very quickly. I'll put a link down there and you can have a look at the product a little closely yourself. It's very, very important that if you like something, if you go into a store, be it an online store or a bricks and mortar store, and you like something. So what we do, we have this is a process. The brain says, I'm going to put all these things in my cart. This even happens in supermarkets. People put things in their cart and then they start to cull or to just remove things, right? And because you think, oh gosh, I've overloaded this thing, I better remove it, or I better abandon my cart, or I better do whatever I do. Because we speak to ourselves and say, right, do I really need this? Do I really need this? Chances are you probably don't really need it, and you don't really need to complete the sale and go through with it. But if you really want a product, what I would suggest, and this is another thing that would help businesses, is buy it. If it's there and it's in stock, buy it. Don't walk past it and say, oh yeah, I'll come back to that. You won't. You just won't. And that's okay too, because if you don't come back to it, well, great. I mean, it's not a biggie. You know, it's not really a big issue. So yeah, look, I guess what I'm saying is that these things, a lot of these decisions are quite impulsive, and you know that's what I would. Texas, we got someone from Texas. Can we see who's that? G Hub 99. Okay, sad to hear the lockdown on your side of the globe. Good to see you online. You hit my mind randomly, and here you are. Well. Thank you, sir. That's very, very kind of you. Yeah, look, lockdown, this is going to, look, okay. So here's the thing. This is going to keep happening, right? All over the world, people are going to go in and out of partial lockdowns and all the rest of it. And it is what it is. It's one of those things that we're just going to have to live with. It's the new normal. Okay. I want to talk about something. Speaking of new normal, I'm going to talk about something new because there was something that I needed to discuss, and that is the Oaken Lab products. Now, Oaken Lab for us, in terms of logistics and in terms of distance, are only up the road. Not really. They're a 7-hour flight away, so they're quite close. And this is the thing that what I'm looking forward to with, say, products like A&E, is that they will have a distribution hub closer to the Asia Pacific and Oceania. So that means that costs will be driven down. That's the only way to do it. So people that were shipping out from their location where they were making that product, if you can, I mean, a lot of businesses can't do that. I mean, you need the means and the resources to do that. But if you can, you have someone distribute on your behalf, or better still, you make the product there and then ship it from there, and that keeps prices quite reasonable and less prohibitive. Okay, so a couple of things. I want to talk to you about a group of products which I think are really, really cool. And these are in store at the moment. We've had a restock on these. So we bought in all the favourites, Batavia Barber, and Far Afield, which is beautiful, really, really, really nice. I mean, these are really, really great products. And Earth of Mankind, which is spicy and quite warm and great for the wintertime because we're in winter here. Realise that those of you that are living in the Northern Hemisphere are having quite warm days at the moment. So we decided to bring in these soaps, not only because we heard really, really good things about them, but because they had changed their formulation. This is the version 3 formulation. Now, I thought the original version of Oaken Lab was decent, and it did quite a capable job. This one here, I've been shaving with it, and I needed to have an opinion on it because I need to talk to people about it. It's good. Yeah, I'm really enjoying. First of all, the consistency. It's kind of so the first thing about this particular soap, and this is the Plein Air. If I can just show you that Plein Air, which is a reference to Claude Monet and the haystacks, because this is beautiful thing about Oaken Lab is that they just don't say here's the scent profile. The thing I like about it, apart from the aesthetic, and it's a lovely aesthetic, it's not it's just a label sort of tub and all the rest of it. The thing I really enjoy about this is that there's an attempt to evoke some feelings around this. Okay, so we're looking at this is meant to be late summer. It's, haystacks, fennel, warm light, all these sorts of things. Now, it might sound a bit arty-farty and all the rest of it, but I think it's actually it's lovely because it prepares you for what you're about to experience. And the scent on this is just lovely. I'm not a fan of fennel, and I'm not getting much fennel in this. I mean, there's a little bit up front. Oh, okay, so here's another thing. So when we first receive some soap, what I like to do is, brand new shipment arrives. First thing I do, I mean, obviously we open the tub and want to have a bit of a sniff. I open the tub and sniff the lid. I go to the lid first. Yeah. I go to the lid first. And then I go to the product once, twice, 3 times. And if you know anything about wine tasting or whiskey tasting or any form of tasting, you need to go back 2 or 3 times to get a real sense. Because what you're copying, I mean, remember, this thing's been sitting in this thing with a lid on it, okay? And you're not going to get a direct... Just doing this is like taking a snapshot and someone's one eye shut, the other open, blinking, halfway through a sneeze. No. Stay with it. And I mean, this is beautiful. It's really, 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 really nice. And I've noticed that the consistency of the soap, I don't know if you can see that. I'll try and get it in there. There. It's really, it's different to the previous formulation, obviously. I mean, it's version 3. But I found this to be quite, so it's quite thick. It's not pasty, but it's quite sort of thick, and it can take a lot of water. You can throw water at this thing, and please do, because it will reward you. And I've been shaving with, I shaved with it this morning and thought it was just, amazing. And the scent on it is just lovely. I finished it off with the aftershave splash, which is mentholated. So it gave me the impression that the sort of the feeling that I was using an alcohol-based aftershave, and there was no alcohol within Cooee, but it was just beautiful, And the other thing is I can get wafts of it through the day. And when I go outside and I'm hit the cool air, I don't know, I love it. I really love it. Performance is very, very good. And one thing that I noticed that Chris Kerrigan now does is when he releases these soaps, he tells you what the scent strength is, because people are used to sort of nuclear reactor type scents, where you can smell it from kilometres away. This stuff is quite mild, but that's what allows the sophistication to come through. I'm not going to use that word complex. Complex has been overutilized, but it's quite. There's lots of things happening in there, and I really, really liked it. I loved it. So there is a difference because I've still got some of the old stuff. I don't reach for it as much, and to me, there was a tallowy scent about it. I know all tallow-based soaps tend to go down that path, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to give it a rating. My rating is I really enjoyed it. There you go. Look at this face. Would it lie to you? Tracy, fennel is amazing. Yeah, primary benefit, traditionally used in Western herbal medicine and aromatherapy. Fennel seed oil has calmative properties that can help support healthy digestion. Well, there you go. Look, I almost stuck it in my mouth. No, I didn't. That's true, and you would know, Tracy, because you're involved with essential oils. It's just incredible. Eric, hello, Eric. Nice to see you on the live. Oaken is fantastic. Their new V3 is premium. Yes, it is. It is. It is. See, I'm really mindful. I think, if I sat here and said it's fantastic, it's great, whatever, people would say, of course you're going to say that. You've got shelves behind you. No. I'm not that guy that's going to sit here and do that. This is really good product. It's really good. Easy lather, sleek, comfortable and protective. I own Sanctum and have Plain Air coming shortly. You'll love Plain Air. And Sanctum, which is that there, this blasted thing. Yeah. Look, I love their aesthetic. I know it's not everything, but I love their aesthetic. It's just lovely. I mean, Sanctum, so this is the description. It's dusty light, blank paper, sandalwood and stillness. There's definitely sandalwood. This is definitely a sandalwood forward type scent. But there's jasmine in here. There's a bit of rose, paper, saying the Virginia cedarwood and patchouli. That's what you're finding in these soaps. They're just, look, it's really, really, really nice. If you're a fan of sandalwood, you'll definitely like Sanctum. Plain Air, I would really, really, really give it a go. I think it's really nice. I'm wearing it now and I'm in love. I need to have some water. That's what love does to you. Your mother used to say that you were complex. She really meant crazy. Yeah, I know. Look, we're all kind of complex. In a funny sort of way. Yes, it is sandalwood forward, and it's. If you've been to Indonesia, and so there's an inordinate number of sandalwood oils, fragrance oils, and essential oils out there. But this one is very, very. It's not a art of shaving type sandalwood. It's not a Truefitton Hill type sandalwood. You know, where they usually combine it with amber, so it's this sandalwood and amber. This is in your face, right? You actually feel that you're now partaking in something that's kind of, I don't know. I'm thinking Balinese. It's lovely. It's lovely. So yes, it is absolutely is sandalwood forward. So look, it's one of those things. Thankfully, they've come in. They're at a reasonable price point, which is good, and that is because. Okay, so here's look. I'm going to tell you. I'm transparent. Shipping these products here, the cost of shipping these products here was 25% was the freight on these. 25% of the cost can be attributed to freight. And they're not far. I don't know. It's an interesting one. Strong scent, but very pleasant. Yeah, look, it is strong. It's probably one of their the Sanctum is probably one of their strongest. It is probably one of their strongest, I would say, but it's quite lovely. Right. Earth of Mankind, we've already been selling a lot of these now that they've restocked. People are getting notifications if they put their name down. Can you please tell me? And in actual fact, they're getting the notification for a product that was the previous version, not this 3 version. Why doesn't that microphone smell as good as this? Have a look at this. That's like a chocolate mousse. That looks like a moonscape. This is lovely. This is lovely. Very, very mystical, very spicy, very warm, great for the winter months. Might be a bit much for the Northern Hemisphere at this point in time, but it's really, really good stuff. I love it. And I also love Batavia Barber. The scent strength. Dr. Spoonerism, where are you? Mr. Spooner. Right. The scent strength of these, I think, is a little more than the previous versions, because this was one of the biggest complaints. I'm not getting anything. I can't really smell anything. This formulation allows the scent to shine through. So if you were worried that it was a very weak scented soap, please do not worry. Again, look at that. You can see that. This is barbershop, but there's something leathery about this as well. It's warm leather. There it is. Rustling fan, warm leather, fresh towel. The splashes are great. The soaps are great. I've been here too long. I need to go. Thank you so much, people, for joining me on this live 3:05 or whatever it is now. What time is it? Oh my goodness, it's that time already. I have to go. Thank you so much. Thank you to those who contributed. I'm sorry I couldn't get through all of the comments. There's people from Lithuania there. Hello, greetings from Lithuania. So yes, thank you, Dave. Thanks for coming and going. It's I realise that it's this is the new normal now. So next week we'll probably do a live at around this time as well. Because we're doing this 2-week lockdown. And then beyond that, I think we'll transition back to the 6:05, which is a bit of a slog because we're closing the shop, bang, getting into it and all the rest. So you can see the lights changed behind me. That's what it is. It's live streaming. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. If you haven't joined our newsletter, please do so. It's on our website. Just join. I'm not going to spam you or throw stuff at you. I'll just let you know when new stuff comes out. I figure that's what people want. They just want that. It's just about information. If you really, really want an artisan product and it's not in stock with us, go directly to the artisan if it's something that you really, really want. Otherwise, thank you for your patience. We will be bringing back our stock. We're not phasing out any of the artisans that we have here. Their products are great. We love them. There's no sinister, there's nothing sinister or anything going on there. It's just the economics and logistics and freight, which I'm keeping on top of, and I also want things to be affordable for you. So, just thank you. Anyway, just be mindful of that. Other than that, it's so good to see you. He says to his lens, I know you're out there. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next live.